No reserve in India is safe from poachers. Instead of denying the problem or shooting the messenger who brings the bad news, we need to urgently focus on improving protection. Good leadership and systematic foot patrols are absolutely vital to deter poachers and to detect snares and traps inside and around reserves. But to defeat the highly organized smuggling networks, we need intelligence-led enforcement and close cooperation between forest, police, and customs departments. The present levels of professional competence in the forest departments are highly inadequate for either investigation or enforcement. What India needs is a modern, well-trained force that will protect our natural heritage with the importance and commitment it deserves. Forest dwellers, with their unique jungle skills, should be an integral part of anti-poaching efforts and forest protection. Above all, we need transparent and sincere governance of our forests. For without this, all the money and goodwill in the world cannot save our tigers. The Indian Forest Service needs sweeping reforms to restore public faith in its ability to safeguard India's natural wealth. A large predator like the tiger needs undisturbed space to live and breed. A forced coexistence with growing numbers of humans within critical breeding habitats, with wood cutting, cattle grazing, and fires, is a slow but sure death sentence for the big cats. They need to be left in peace, at least inside wildlife reserves. To establish whether conservation efforts are working, tiger and prey populations in every reserve must be regularly monitored by independent scientists. All wildlife management decisions should be based on sound science and focused on the needs of wildlife, rather than on the whims and fancies of individual officers. These 4 steps can dramatically improve the tiger's chances if they are implemented. This requires political will. It was Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's determined intervention that pulled tigers back from the brink of extinction in the 70s. By banning hunting, introducing wildlife protection laws, and launching Project Tiger, Indira Gandhi saved not just the tiger, but also ensured the safeguarding of its habitats. Without these forests, which are the source of hundreds of rivers, our own survival would not be possible. Tigers cannot vote, but they can only be saved if all political leaders sincerely support conservation efforts in the national interest. All of us can help bring about renewed political commitment to save the tiger by strongly voicing our concerns. Judge or journalist, teacher or student, CEO or software engineer, each of us can make a difference in our own way to ensure that forests and wildlife are protected. Simply visiting wildlife reserves does nothing to save wildlife. In fact, uncontrolled tourism just creates more problems. Our admiration for the tiger is of little use if we sit back and do nothing while it is wiped out. If poaching is to be tackled seriously, we must demand better protection and accountability. And if the tiger's habitat is to be saved, we must oppose the destruction of our forests. Tigers need large areas of interconnected forest habitat for the dispersal of cubs and to prevent inbreeding. Today, our remaining wild spaces are being severely fragmented in the name of development by mining projects, reservoirs of large dams, railway lines, and highways. Thanks to timely action by citizens, some disastrous projects that would have destroyed pristine areas have been averted. But more are started every day. In the interests of India's ecological security, government and industry must strive for development without destroying our last forests. And we, the people, must be ever vigilant in defense of the taiga and its habitat. But why should we bother? Why not simply keep a few tigers in zoos and be done with it? The answer is best summed up in these lines written over 2,000 years ago. Today, science is very clear that not just tigers, but we too will perish unless urgent steps are taken to heal the earth. With climate change looming large, protecting forests is more crucial than ever. Preserving nature isn't a luxury. It's what keeps us alive. The measures we take to save charismatic species like the tiger benefit thousands of other wild creatures that share their habitat and help maintain the balance of nature. This beautiful land we call India once belonged to the animals of the forest. Tigers roamed fearlessly across its length and breadth until we began to exterminate them and destroy their forests. It is not too late to undo some of the damage we have done. Saving tigers is not rocket science. All they need are undisturbed forests where they can live and breed in peace. All we need to do is provide adequate protection, and nature will do the rest. In a few reserves that have put an adequate system of protection in place, tigers and other wildlife have staged a remarkable comeback. A century ago, one-horned Indian rhinos were virtually extinct because of hunting. Today, over 1,800 of these animals roam in Assam's Kaziranga Tiger Reserve, thanks to a network of anti-poaching camps, patrolling, and strict enforcement of wildlife protection laws. In South India, the forest of Nagarhole in Karnataka was a disaster zone in the 70s, with rampant encroachment and poaching. But under the dynamic leadership of men like Range Officer K.M. Chinnappa, it was transformed into a wildlife paradise. We now have all the knowledge we need to save the tiger and some of the strongest wildlife laws in the world. But none of this will help if public pressure is absent. The tiger belongs to each and every one of us, and unless we act now, it will continue to disappear from our forests. There are many things all of us can do. Form watchdog groups, use the Right to Information Act, and petition the courts and government to ensure proper protection for our forests. Saving the tiger is not just a matter of national pride, but a test of our collective will as a nation. If we cannot save our national animal, what can we save? It is imperative that we work side by side, forest officers and researchers, NGOs and political leaders, to ensure that this magnificent creation of nature will always burn bright in our forests. The tiger symbolizes our natural heritage like no other animal. It has been part of our culture for thousands of years. If it disappears, a bit of India's soul will be lost forever, and the world will be a poorer place. As the custodians of this irreplaceable gift of nature, it is our sacred duty to do everything we can to prevent its needless extinction and to safeguard it for future generations.